Hey, YouTube, it's another perfect day in God's country, and I ain't lying. Boy, I forgot to groom myself. Hey, good enough. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Easter Sunday. At least that's what it claims to be when I look over there at my calendar next to my desk. One thing I do know for sure is it is another perfect day in God's country, and I ain't lying. Thank you to each and every one of you for taking yet another minute out of your day to hang out with me, Lucky Haskins, for yet another moment of truth. I had a commenter. I do read all of my comments, folks. I'm sorry that I'm getting kind of bad about getting back to everybody and all that. Just don't want to be online as much as I used to, and I don't. When I am online, I'm here. I use the computer more for business and some light entertainment. Like lately, I've been binge watching with my wife, which is wonderful because we sit on the couch and hold hands, and we've been binge watching some Mr. Ballin late at night after, the boy goes to bed, and we get to sit on the couch and hang out together. So we've been binge watching some Mr. Ballin and all of his dark and scary stories, and the man is an excellent storyteller. And then of course I like to watch baseball, no matter how owned and controlled it is. Although baseball, in my opinion, is really being destroyed. I've been feeling this way since the pitch clock. For any baseball fans, the pitch clock in Major League Baseball really upset me because it was such an integral part of the game, the cat and mouse game between the pitcher and the batter and any runners that were on base. Now, look, you mentioned about the pitch clock, yeah, because we don't want to sit there for 3.5 hours and watch a ball game. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We'll sit there for 5.5 hours and watch a ball game if we love the game, okay? If it's a real game, we love the game. Why wouldn't we watch a 5.5 hour baseball game? If a baseball game takes 5.5 hours, it's got to be a gosh darn good game. Because no professional baseball player drags out a game that's like 12-1 or 14-0. They all just go, let's just move this along and go home, boys. So if you get treated to a 5-hour baseball game, it's for the love of the game, y'all. So no, I don't like the pitch clock at all. Massive hit to the game of baseball. You can only throw over to first base twice. If you throw over the third time and you don't get him, he gets the base for free. What? Now everybody on first base is stealing, folks. Everybody's stealing. And they're almost, it must be 85% I'm seeing of people stealing. It's so easy to steal second now because of the pitch clock, and you can't throw over, and the cat and mouse game is over. I used to love it when a pitcher would throw over 14, 15 times to first base on a guy who's a known base stealer. Absolutely. Wear him down. Wear him out. Keep him honest. Okay? Now everybody steals. Oh, the fans love it. More action. Great. Okay? I get it. I'm old. I'd rather sit there and watch the 5.5 hour baseball game. However, now they got this ABS thing. Okay? The fans are raging about it. Screw the umps. They're all corrupt. Blah, 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 blah. Not realizing they just handed the strike zone directly to Vegas. Who do you think? Okay, I don't want to. Everybody calls me the conspiracy theorist. No, folks, I use common sense. Now that you've given direct digital access to the man himself. Oh no, it's going to be AI. AI is going to be honest. Yeah, they're not going to manipulate any close ones or anything. No, now that we've given computer control over to the man himself and taken it directly away from the umps. Nah, it can't be manipulated now, Lucky. Psh, they got like 14 cameras angles or something creating this ABS system. Folks, easily manipulated on any pitches that were close. Easily manipulated. And they know this. So now they've taken it right away from the umps because it's a lot harder to corrupt the umps and get them to play ball perfectly and make the game go your way than it is if you've got control of the digital camera system that calls balls and strikes. Give me a break, folks. So anyway, fans are all excited about this new ABS system. I hate it. The old school way was beautiful for 150 years, however long it's been, man. At least 125 years, right? Come on, man. It's all part of the game. It's a human game. The pitcher has to learn what ump's behind the plate. The ump has to learn the pitcher. The batters have to understand the ump. As the game goes on, the batters and pitchers have to understand the zone the ump is calling that night. And all the fans are telling me, oh man, that's just stupid. No, we just want it fair. Okay, let's have this discussion again in 10 years. You tell me how much of a fan you are of AI taking people's jobs. But anyway, Lucky likes the old baseball. Didn't mean to ramble on, but hey, any baseball fans out there, there you go. I like the old baseball. I can't watch NASCAR because they done screwed it up so bad. I was a big NASCAR fan until restrictor plates, which antiquates me, hey. Lucky restrictor plates came out in the 90s or something. Yeah, I don't know when they came out, but it changed the whole thing. Why'd they do it? Entertainment. Yeah, because before restrictor plates, the dude with the fastest car would be 3 and 4 laps ahead of everybody. Yeah, it was racing. He'd be racing his ass off. The crew worked hard on that car, man. He's faster than everyone else. He gonna win. That's NASCAR. But hey, man, whatever. Whatever. Let's talk about the fake moon landing a little bit, because under the comment section, I had somebody say, what, you're not going to talk about the April Fool's joke of sending humans into outer space and visiting the moon? And of course, if I could speak for the masses a little bit, they know so little about what's going on with the propaganda and what a mockery the owners and controllers of information have made out of science itself, and a mockery out of humanity. And I've said this till I'm blue in the face, folks. Science has been stolen across the board, across the sciences, by something they call theoretical science, which is science fiction by definition. Oh no, Lucky, in science, this is how they use truth with lies, okay? Lucky, in science, you come up with a theory, then you test your theory to see if it's correct. Yes, there's a thing called the method of discovery. Science, demonstrable science, will never lie to you. However, because of the human's ability, or the human's lack of ability to know who to trust, what to trust, mainly their lack of ability to cross-check information, to apply logic and reason, and comprehend that information that they were fed, they're easily fed theoretical science to explain away actual science, which was never the intention of a scientific theory. For example, let's just talk about gravity. When the theory of gravity was first proven wrong, did they go, oh, it's wrong, let's scrap the theory? No, they completely make up new fabricated theories to continue to pretend that the theory of gravity has some viability. The populace, many of the scientists, unfortunately, do lack the ability to decipher the difference between theoretical science and reality. And it's not their fault. The heavy indoctrination has, by design, induced this confusion. It's literally called psychosis, i.e. living in a false reality. The way they do this is by mixing truth with lies. For all of you all who are, if you're listening to this, you're a newbie or you're a family member and you're like, he's gone crazy. He thinks a theory's fake and that's all he's trying to say. No, let me give you some substance to back this up. Doctors are a really good example of how I'm trying to explain how the system of truth with lies works. Doctors are very well educated, and I can assure you folks, I've said this before, if you break your freaking arm, I highly recommend you go to the hospital and you let the well-trained professionals fix your arm. There's lots of realities about the healthcare system and modern advancements. truth with lies. However, let's move over to the theoretical side of medicine, because fixing your arm is, of course, not using any theoretical science. Now, let's move over to the theoretical side of doctors and medicinal science and how these folks are trained, to give you a clear example of how truth is mixed with lies at all times, and clearly it's intentional. This is the rough part for humans to digest, that this was intentionally done to us, still being done to this day in the schools. I've explained it to you carefully in great detail how the teachers now, because of the curriculum, the teachers are not trying to lie to you. They do not, when teaching science to young and gullible minds, they do not distinguish the difference between theoretical science and demonstrable science. They blend it all together, and it's intentional. It's called truth with lies. This is why you should believe our theoretical science, because we've discovered all this. This is why you get mental midgets continuously saying, you think scientists are evil, you don't trust the science, and yet here you are on your computer. And they don't realize that they're absolutely using themselves as the example of ignorance that was beaten into them by a school system designed to take away their ability to use their own intellectual faculties and to think critically, and to, most importantly, to use logic and reason and critical thinking, right? So those are just great examples. They no longer distinguish between theoretical science and real science, actual demonstrable science. So they're not distinguishing between fact and fiction intentionally while folks are very young. So by the time they're adults, they cannot in any way distinguish the difference between theoretical science, which is fictional, and demonstrable science, which is always the truth. Demonstrable science, independent of the observer, that's what science is. Science never was intended to be make up a theory, and when that theory disagrees with experiment, make up another theory. And when that theory is proven wrong, we'll add another theory on top of that theory to pretend the original theory or hypothesis could be viable. When you're stringing an impossible, made-up, fabricated theories along to propagate a hypothesis or a theory that was proven incorrect using the scientific method, you are no longer utilizing any form of science. It's completely and totally science fiction for fanboys, 1,000,000%. Now, over the years, I have proven this to you many times, including getting PhDs at the highest level of education to admit this to you, that there is indeed no scientific proof of any globe Earth. And of course, I've known this for 15 years. It's just very difficult to get these folks to admit it, because due to their own ego, they really struggle and search for ways. Now, these people think that everybody around them is far less intelligent than them, so they think they're going to get away with these little trickery statements that they use to keep people living with the same religious beliefs that they have. That's how a cult works, okay? And by the way, I know that people like to call conspiracy theorists in a cult. And of course, what is a cult? When somebody calls something a cult, it's just a larger cult being upset that there's a smaller group of people organizing against the real cult. They use the word cult. Get it? That's how you defend a very large cult, which, of course, as we know in 2026, that's what scientism is. But I want to lay a foundation here, because I'm going to get kind of deep today. The foundation, because this is simple enough that most people can understand it. They don't want to. They love looking the other way. Absolutely. People are trained like monkeys to look the other way. But this is something that the average layman can understand. The average fella that went through the whole indoctrination process, maybe had 4 to 6 years of college, they will understand what I'm about to say. That is the field of medicine. Now, these doctors go through all this training, and they are told, this is very important, folks, they are not explained how any of these diseases or illnesses or viruses come to be. They are told how to look at symptoms, and they are told how to diagnose those symptoms. They are told this is the diagnosis. That's what they're there to learn. Now, if you have your critical thinking abilities intact, what you should begin to understand is they're not really learning the craft of how to determine what is wrong with somebody. They are learning to view symptoms and then coordinate those symptoms to a cause or a diagnosis. The diagnosis is given to them by the Rockefeller education system. Where's that diagnosis coming from? Well, very few people will look into this, but the diagnosis is coming from the large pharmaceutical companies. This is how this works. It's all reverse engineered. They invent drugs. They make up diseases now. I'll give you an example of that. They'll make the drug before they invent the disease. Then they tell people they have this disease and they start selling the drug through all of the insurance companies and everybody that's willing to propagate all of these corrupt transactions. We know this now, but I just want to point out how doctors in the medicinal practices are trained. They're not taught to think about what causes it. The best example I can give, about 15, 16 years ago, I came across a guy starting to do some epic work online, Dr. Jerry Marzinski. I like to call him, as his peers used to, Dr. J. His peers and his patients used to call him Dr. J affectionately. Everybody loved the guy. Now, how he was scolded by his university for asking how they came up with that diagnosis and how do we know that that diagnosis is correct? What is the basis for that diagnosis? I'm not here just to learn what you want me to diagnose patients as, which every other doctor in his class is just going great and taking notes and learning how to tell people what they have based upon what they were told. Does this mean doctors aren't smart? No. 6 years of school, they know how to diagnose you because they were told how to diagnose you. Dr. Jerry Marzinski is very unique because he said, well, I thought I'd be here to learn. I want to learn how we come up with those diagnoses. What's the science behind this? What's the background? What do we have as rock solid proof before I diagnose somebody and start giving them medicine? How do I know that your diagnosis you're telling me to assign is correct? And he was forced to stay after class and got scolded and said, never ask those questions again. If you want to talk about something of that magnitude, then you talk to me in private. Now, why would the professor say this? Because the professor has no fucking idea either. Just like science, folks. That's why I'm giving you this. It's easier for people to understand. Of course, they're not taught about the other side of it, particularly when it comes to medicinal science, because it's all theoretical horse shit, made up fictional fairy tale science. Fictional like germs, fictional like viruses. People can't comprehend it. If you do a Google search now, you get so much lies and propaganda. It is so thick, and I see how it works, because they literally, AI now comes on, but it does give you the flag. If you click on the little AI button, it tells you, warning, AI is going to be biased, and okay, it's telling you that what you're reading is propaganda from the authoritative position. Okay, it's telling you, but people go, oh, AI never lies, man. It's going to call balls and strikes. It's going to be perfect. AI has no reason to lie. Yes, it does, folks, because it's programmed by humans. Snap out of the trance, will you? Okay, now, so my point here is doctors are not, okay, do you get it? And if you do the research yourself and you look at who's on the board for these companies such as Pfizer and blah, 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 then you go and look at who's on the medical board making and creating these new diseases. There happen to be on the board that creates the diagnostics for the medicinal industry, and they're on the board for the large companies manufacturing the drugs. Oh, but they're good, honest people, Lucky. They're good, honest people. They just want to heal you. Sure they do. They have no interest in selling you a few billion more dollars worth of drugs. Okay, so I just explained it to you. These doctors are not told how to think and come up with this stuff. They're told and given the answers. Same as scientists. All these people say, oh, you think all these scientists are lying and they're in on it. First of all, no, they're not, because no scientist has a job of proving any globe Earth. And all scientists, if they're qualified at all to be a scientist, they know that the globe is a hypothesis. It's a hypothetical and strictly theoretical model that fails experiment at every single step of the way. And if they are worth their salt as a scientist, as many are now waking up and snapping out of the trance, they've begun telling themselves, wait a minute, it's not proper science to come up with a theory or a hypothesis and quickly have it disagree with experiment, yet make up a new theory to pretend your theory could still be viable, and put it all on paper and use mathematics to reverse engineer it, and then lead a population along as if it's reality. That's what we're living through, and it's across the sciences. I'm going to say one more thing about the doctor business. It was probably 3 years ago. I was collecting from my vending route, and this girl behind the counter, she said something that I literally thought she was, instantly, I'm like, oh, she's a bright, I often, you can really tell people, oftentimes, you can take a quick check at their intelligence level by their sense of humor, in my opinion. Now, I'm a guy that's been really intensely fascinated with human psychology since I was very young, for many, many, many reasons, okay? So I like to think I know my way around human psychology pretty well, as at this point, experience is just king. Hell, I lost my train of thought. See, I start blowing sunshine up my ass, I lose my train of thought. So I'm collecting from my vending route. Every time I pull out a cigarette, it works, folks. Do you see? For long-time listeners, you know that's true. I'm collecting from my vending route. This gal, I don't know, mid-20s, early 20s probably. I forget how young these youngins are nowadays. So she made me laugh because I said something, I don't know what I said, but it made her say, yeah, I have oppositional defiance disorder. And I literally busted out laughing. And my mind's telling me, oh, this is an intelligent girl. That's funnier than shit. Basically like, yeah, people piss me off too, man. I like how you worded that. Oppositional defiance or disorder. I thought she was just winging some slick humor, for real. And I literally busted out laughing until I realized she wasn't even grinning about it. And she said, no, for real, I'm on medicine for it. And I'm like, what? Oppositional defiance disorder? Are you kidding me? So people piss you off and you're sick? Is that... it was the funniest shit I ever heard. Literally, folks. Okay? No, I really... yeah. Okay. Then I realized she wasn't kidding. So when I got home, I had to look this up. Now, it's a prime example, folks. They already had the dope. They already made the dope. And they're like, well, what are we going to do with it? They come up with... Because they own and control the industries... They call this cutting edge science and human advancement. They create a new disease to sell the drug. Folks, wake up. It's simple. It's simple. Nobody wants to admit what has happened to the human race in this short little 150-year blip that those who own and control you call the new world. Okay? Many of the masses probably don't even understand that it's called the New World. It's called the New World because it is new, folks. Late 1800s. These folks were given this freaking civilization and rebuilt it, and here we are. Okay? This is how we know the globe Earth lies only 140, 150 years old. We know this. It's provable. Now, I laid down the thing about the doctor stuff because I just want to point out how truth with lies is so intricately woven. That is, of course, the duality. Like, our man RV Truth always points out the duality is the only way they can function. The black and white checkerboard floors. Truth with lies. In order for any of these systems, all of the systems are corrupt, folks. In order for any of them to function, there has to be plenty of truth in there for the sheep to waggle along and play their role in the narrative, okay? Truth with lies. It's everywhere. Now, I have carefully and just plainly explained to countless people, if you want to understand at all that the globe earth is just a theoretical model that doesn't match reality in any way, shape, or form, and you certainly don't live on it, if you want to understand that, you have to start by understanding what theoretical science is. You have to understand the difference between theories and reality. You have to understand the difference between fiction and nonfiction. Literally, okay? Fiction means from the mind of the author. Nonfiction means not from the mind of the author. Neither one are mean that they're true or not. Just so you know, nonfiction, it's implied to you that it's correct, but it doesn't claim to be correct. It just means it's not from the mind of the author, period. Fiction means from the mind of the author, by definition, okay? Theoretical science is science fiction, by definition. Now people, because they believe in such wackadoodle craziness by design, it's mockery, warped space-time, mockery of human beings, treating adults like children, like RV Truth says. It's literally what they do. Mock the human race, treat them all like children, and why wouldn't they? They, at this point, are certainly dealing with childlike minds. The ways that people defend this science fiction is insane in 2026. When people come and they try to argue with me about their globe earth, they don't realize it, and all they're doing is repeatedly pointing out what a childlike mind they have. Am I saying that everybody still believes they live on a globe as a childlike mind? Not if you're not looking into it, which most people think it's so ridiculous to even ponder the fact that we don't live on a globe, because they were so heavily indoctrinated, because the globe is so fundamentally necessary to the New World Order, the control of all of the human beings that have been placed on these 6 known continents. This is what the owners and controllers of this realm describe as the New World. The New World Order is what they have been working on for 150 years. Their words are, humans will live under the rule of law, not the law of the jungle. It's going to be fun, folks. Can't wait for that. Humans have been, not even reluctantly, programmed from day one, right out of the box. They didn't even lie to you. They invented film. Then they decided to broadcast it into your home, and they called it television programming channels. Didn't even lie to you. We're going to need a TV in everyone's house so we can program you. They done told you what they were going to do. Now we got people saying, the globe earth is proven because I saw it on my television. I saw it on my television, Lucky. God damn, the television would not lie, but the internet will. Feeble mental midgets. Okay, folks, the globe earth is a really bad theoretical model. Nobody lives on it, and none of these theories have any application. I ran into a guy in a comment thread who was trying to tell me that, of course, they go right down the list. You don't know what a theory is. Then I explain it to him. Then he says, because he tries telling me that I don't trust scientists and I think they're evil, but I'm on my computer using their technology. Not knowing that I come from a technical background, that I'm a former CEO of a technical company. Nobody, I'm sure he never assumed that along the way, right? Well, whatever, folks. It's all irrelevant. However, he tells me, you don't understand. Theories in science are proven. We just call them theories just because. We just keep the name theory on them, even after they're proven. I said, no, sir, of course, you couldn't be any further from the truth. However, as long as you keep thinking that, you'll be easily manipulated. Put your mask on and pull your sleeve back and get your job back flipping flapjacks, jackass. Okay? Get the jab. Roll your sleeve back. Get the jab back. Roll your sleeve back, take the jab, jackass. This is all courtesy of Dr. Bass, by the way. I'm going to have to give him a huge shout out. I wish I could remember the lyrics to that song. That's the one that you could go viral with, Dr. Bass. Boy, the irony there, eh? I just gave you a couple new lines for it now that we know more about And if for those of you who don't know, Dr. Bass, huge shout out, Dr. Bass. I'm going to talk about another one of your shorts here in this video too. That's the song, brother, and you need to master it to where you keep it really short, and the vocals need to be very audible, and it wouldn't hurt to put a printout on the bottom of the lyrics. And I'm throwing you a couple more lines. Pull the sleeve back, because you mastered it. I can't even remember, but it's still in my mind. It's still in my mind, Dr. Bass, from 2020. Take the jab, get your job back. Get your job back, jackass. Take the jab, flip your flapjacks. I don't know, but it was brilliant. If you could condense it and get a good recording of that and release it as a short, dude, that's the best. You need to get 2 more lines in. Pull your sleeve back before you get the jab, jackass. And if you get the jab, you're going to get a heart attack. So you need to get the heart attack in there now that it's 2026 and we know what the jab causes, blood clots and heart attacks. So now